AITAA for saying my daughter's friend can't come back to our house until I've spoken to her parents? Posted by NoWish5956. Yes, I'm on a throwaway. I use my personal account for other things. My daughter CC, 12, met this girl, I'll call her Katie, 13, at a summer intensive dance program in August. Katie seemed like a nice enough kid, and for the most part, I think she is. But since school started, things are starting to concern me. Katie and CC don't go to the same school. In fact, Katie's school is quite far from us, and she lives near there, apparently. I say apparently because Katie just kind of appears at our house as if from nowhere. She says she takes the bus for about 45 minutes, but she'll appear at weird hours, like 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday. She also comes over after school some days, which I don't mind, but we have a rule that no one stays past 6 on a school night, which is a boundary she routinely pushes. She's getting very comfortable pushing boundaries in general, such as coming for a sleepover with a suitcase of clothes and asking our helper to do her laundry, some of which I'm pretty sure isn't even hers, and inviting herself to come on outings. And the biggest thing is I'm pretty sure she's stealing from our house. We have a storeroom full of stuff we buy in bulk and take to bathrooms and kitchen as needed. Now, I'm not counting our things like a crazy person, but I know generally what we use and what's going down quicker than usual. And I guess the big red flag and the reason I'm making these posts is I've never seen or heard from this girl's parents. She came to the dance classes by herself. She comes and goes from our house by herself. Never has invited Cece over because she says she shares a room with her brother. If I ever ask to speak to her parents about her having a sleepover, she says she texted them and they're not home, at work, or at a function and can't talk. I've let it go for now because I'm trying to be sensitive to the fact that not all parents have the time to be all over their kids, and I know I'm pretty protective and some parents are more free range. My husband, who spent his teenage years away from home for days at a time, says it can happen in some families and that I'm being a bit harsh. But the final straw for me was last weekend. I went away for a few days, came back Sunday afternoon, and Katie had been there since Friday. She asked to stay another night, to which we said no because we don't do sleepovers on school nights. She just didn't leave and stayed for dinner. I asked if she was going to be okay taking the bus home or if she wanted a ride or to call her parents, to which she said her parents were out of town for the weekend and only getting back tomorrow. Apparently her brother was in charge at home. This was it for me. Now, I love my husband, and I know he's a safe person, but here's a teenage girl sleeping over without an adult female present in a day and age where most people aren't even letting their kids have sleepovers, and the parents don't even know. I just feel like this opened us up to crazy liabilities. I was kind of glad Katie didn't call her parents because I'd have no idea who would be turning up on my doorstep or if they're even okay that their daughter is here. It just put in perspective to me that I'm not okay with this complete lack of communication. I told Cece that next time Katie comes over, I will need to speak to her mother before she comes or she's not allowed. I just feel I need to take a hard line on this. Katie's parents could be totally normal people who are just busy. That's fine. I just need to know whose kid is in my house. By the same token, if there is something wrong, I have zero information about them to hand over to relevant agencies. I just need something to go off. And God forbid their kid slips and falls in my house. I want to know they at least know where she is. My daughter thinks I'm being unfair and overbearing. My husband is supporting me, but privately said there's a ton of reasons a kid would be embarrassed of their parents, and I should mind my own business. He is all for stricter rules on Katie coming over, but says I need to drop the parent condition. I'm not trying to be over the top and nosy. I'm not asking for one big family dinner. I just want to be sure that the adults know where their kid is and that they're okay with her being there. Is that too much to ask? Am I the age for issuing an ultimatum and not just mind my own business?
Melly the Cat Lady comments, if you know what school Katie goes to, call and speak to the school counselor about your concerns. There's a good chance that she is on their radar. If not, I think she needs to be. I can think of a few scenarios that she is dealing with. 1, abusive parents. 2, her family is homeless. 3, her parents don't pay close attention to her, maybe due to addiction. 4, she is in foster care. Minus the pushing boundaries about staying, is she a good kid, or are you concerned about her influence on Cece? OP response, I don't. I suppose I could Google schools in the general area and just start calling, but I don't think they'd tell me if she goes there. I'm not concerned about influence. Cece's a good kid, she's a law unto herself, and it's not like they're even going anywhere. They're mostly sitting in our living room doing nothing. I just think that if I have responsibility for a child well under my roof, I should know whose kid that is, and her parents should know she's here. Again, I wouldn't let my daughter spend the night with a man home and no adult female present, even if I knew him. And if I found out that happened, I would be livid. But here's Katie spending the weekend with just my husband home and her parents not even aware. That doesn't seem right. See Operation 6123 comments. Not sure why you're putting the responsibility on your 12-year-old to manage the situation. Why don't you just drive her home and introduce yourself to the parents? Or ask Katie for her parents' phone numbers. Does the dance teacher or any of the other parents know anything about Katie's parents? OP response. Well, she declines a ride home. I'm not about to bundle a kid into a car and just start driving. What if she just refuses to tell me her address? Am I supposed to just sit on a street corner and wait her out? I've asked her for her parents' numbers, but she just says they're at work, busy, not home, and thus far I've had to let it go because I can't be arguing with someone's kid. I asked the dance teacher, but Katie was only there for that one course as part of a scholarship outreach program, and the contact for that was apparently the liaison, not her parents. But the teacher couldn't give me the liaison contact anyway because of privacy. Do Yogurt 4916 comments. She's homeless or has a really bad home life. Maybe be more understanding and just document things. Would locking the storeroom be so inconvenient you would risk getting a 12-year-old beating or worse? OP response. I'm not going to lock stuff up. If she needs essentials, then I'd rather her take them from my house than a store. But if she has a bad home life, should I not be reporting it to someone? Which I can't do because I know nothing about the situation. And if her parents haven't known where she is the whole time and suddenly find out, is that not going to be a problem? I don't know if they're neglectful. They might just work multiple jobs. They might care in their own way. I just have no idea, and I feel I should at least know what we're dealing with. Deminobi comments. My bedroom was the living room for several years growing up. That doesn't mean I wasn't safe. It meant there were 2 bedrooms in a home with 4 children and a single mom, and 2 of us insisted on taking the living room for 2 reasons. First, because we wanted our mom to get some rest. Second, because if we were in the living room, we could turn on the TV and watch late-night Nick at night until the station signed off around 2 a.m. I'm not saying this situation shouldn't be looked into, but going straight to CPS because the 12-year-old might have stolen some toothpaste and is embarrassed of her parents isn't going to do anything but remove the chance she'll be allowed to go to their house. That's okay though, right? Doesn't matter if it actually helps her situation, as long as she stays away. She's not showing up with bruises, the OP's daughter isn't raising an alarm. Trust me, the kid knows more about their friend's situation. She helped herself to some personal care items that were obviously plentiful, asked to do some laundry, and doesn't appear to have bad behaviors other than trying to push how long she can be over. She sounds like she could have been any of my friends growing up. OP response. Yeah, this is what my husband says and what we're trying to avoid. I don't want to embarrass her or make it seem like we're banning her from the house. If her parents work a bunch and don't know where she is all the time, that's their business. I would just like to know so I know I'm not going to have an angry dad on the doorstep, or that we should be connecting Katie with services. Fast Question 4794 comments. Whilst I understand every concern you have, this is seriously messed up. A 12-year-old doesn't turn up at your door and not want to go home unless something is really wrong. Her parents may not be around, and she is being cared for by her brother. He may be abusing her. Anything could be happening. Does your daughter know anything? She may know but have been sworn to secrecy. Does she know where she lives? Have you asked Katie any questions? Ask her questions framed as getting to know her. If she is reluctant or evasive, then I think at that point you either tell Katie that you're worried and scared she's in a bad situation and want to help her, or get the authorities involved. I'd rather be wrong and cause an argument than be right and do nothing. This is a difficult dilemma for you. I don't envy the situation you've been put in, but if you have any inkling that this young girl is at risk, then you have to act accordingly as the adult and report it. Victims of any abuse will cover it up and deny it because any family is better than none at all. Or she may not want to cause further problems at home as she be the one who pays. But I do think your daughter has some idea of what's going on. She won't say as she thinks it will be a betrayal of a friend. You need to impress on your daughter that keeping quiet in these situations is not betraying a friend. It's helping a kid who can't help herself. Let's hope we are all wrong, but this behavior is not normal, and I feel something is happening that a young girl doesn't want to go home. OP response: Can you report it with no information? I don't know where she lives or what school she goes to. Can you just give a name when you make a report? I've tried to make conversation with Katie, but she's not very talkative. My daughter is a one-woman act, so she tends to have shyer friends, and my husband and I are introverts, so I didn't want to overstep and be that parent, because I hated those parents as a kid. I've asked Cece what she knows, and it doesn't seem like much. Just typical kid complaints, too many siblings, not a lot of space at home. She apparently doesn't talk about her parents much, but says they work a lot. We don't know if that's true. We know the general area she lives in, but Cece has never even been there, so it's not like if Katie told her exactly, she would know. So I guess she's never asked. I'm trying not to expect my daughter to be some kind of spy and dig for information. I just want some kind of contact with her parents, so I know if there is likely to be a real problem.